Sainam students, welcome all of you. Okay, so we'll go ahead with our next lesson, that is chapter 9 of history, the Maratha War of Independence. Okay, in our earlier lessons, we already learned about the conflict with the Mughals, then about how Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj is considered to be an ideal ruler. And in this lesson, we are going to learn about the Maratha War of Independence. Now, what exactly is this Maratha War of Independence? Let's see. Okay. After the death of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, the Marathas fought with great valor with the Mughals under the leadership of Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj. We all know that Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj was the son of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. So after the death of Maharaj, his son Sambhaji Maharaj took control and they got united towards against the Mughals and started fighting with against the Mughals with lot of courage. So even at that time, Chhatrapati Rajaram Maharaj and Maharani Tarabai were also there to protect the Swaraj. So this long war against the Mughals, this long war lasted for 27 years, is called as the Maratha War of Independence. So what is the Maratha War of Independence? The war against the Mughals, which lasted for 27 years. Yes, is called as the Maratha War of Independence. In 1682 CE, Emperor Aurangzeb himself led the invasion of the south. Even then, despite enormous difficulties, the Marathas emerged victorious in this struggle. This war is an exciting and glorious period in the history of India. In this chapter, we shall learn about this war of independence. So, what is this war about independence? In the year 1682, when Emperor Aurangzeb led the invasion against the Marathas to the south. So, despite of lot of difficulties, the Marathas emerged to be victorious. They won against the Mughals. Okay, and this was a very exciting, a glorious period, brought lot of glory to the Maratha Empire. And what it is about, it is you're going to learn in this lesson. The word Maratha used here means the people who speak Marathi or Maharashtrian people. Yes, so the Maratha War of Independence is the war of the Marathi people or the Maharashtrian people against that time against the Mughals. Okay, let's see what we have further. Over here you can see the picture of Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj. We all know that Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj was the eldest son of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj and he was born on 14 May 1657 on the Purandar fort. Now after Shivaji Maharaj, he became the next Chhatrapati. At this time, the Marathas were battling against the Mughals. During the same period, Emperor Aurangzeb's son Shahzada Akbar rebelled against his father. The emperor crushed his rebellion. Then Akbar came to the Deccan to take shelter with Sambhaji Maharaj. Then the emperor himself descended on the south in 1682 CE to vanquish Akbar. He had with him a huge army and a powerful artillery. He asked the Siddhi of Janjira to undertake an expedition against the Marathas. He also won over the Portuguese to his side. Consequently, Shivaji Maharaj had to face many adversaries at one and the same time. Okay, Sambhaji Maharaj had to face many adversaries at one at the same time. So it is telling us about how after the death of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, Sambhaji Maharaj became the next Chhatrapati, and at that time the Marathas were definitely battling against the Mughals, fighting against the Mughal, and the emperor's son, Emperor Aurangzeb's son Shahzada Akbar, he went against his father, and the emperor crushed his rebellion. Yes, he went against his father, so his rebellion was crushed, and this Shahzada Akbar, he came towards the Deccan and took help from Sambhaji Maharaj. So, in order to crush Shahzada Akbar, emperor himself came down towards the south. So, when he came to the south, he had a huge army with him and a lot of artillery, powerful artillery. And at the same time, he took the help of Siddhi of Janjira and asked him to go against the Marathas. So, he and Siddhi also won over the Portuguese to his side. So consequently, as a result of this, Sambhaji Maharaj had to face many adversaries at one and the same time. Yes, the Mughals, the Siddhi, and the Portuguese. So these were the adversaries, the enemies which he had to face at one and the same time. What happened after that? Now, the reign of Sambhaji Maharaj marks the first chapter of the Maratha War of Independence after Shivaji Maharaj. Shivaji Maharaj had given him excellent education in civil administration and military campaigns. Sambhaji Maharaj had begun to take interest in the administration of the state and the command of the navy from the age of 14 years. While he was still a prince, he had led attacks on many territories to the Mughals and the Adil Shah. The French traveler Ab Carey says about his battle skills, even though the prince is young, he is courageous and brave like his father was famous for. So, just like his father, Sambhaji Maharaj also has earned a lot of name and fame in the history of India as well. So it this reign, this rule, the period of when Sambhaji Maharaj became the Chhatrapati, it marks the first chapter of Maratha War of Independence after the death of Shivaji Maharaj. So Shivaji Maharaj, like how Shivaji Maharaj had got good education, excellent education in civil administration, the same education he had given to his own son Sambhaji Maharaj. So Sambhaji Maharaj definitely showed a lot of interest in the administration of the Swaraj as well, and he had a good command over the army from a very young age of 14 years. Okay, so since he was very young, he led attacks on the territories of the Mughals and even the Adil Shah. This courageous ability of Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj is being quoted by the French traveler Ab Carre, where he says that even though he was a very young prince, he is courageous and brave, just like his father was. So, the son was just like like his father. So, Sambhaji Maharaj was definitely courageous, like his own father, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. When Sambhaji Maharaj became the Chhatrapati, the war with the Mughals became fiercer. Aurangzeb wanted to occupy regions from Kabul to Kanyakumari and create a grand unified Mughal empire. His dream was to destroy the Maratha state completely using his military and financial prowess. But Sambhaji Maharaj shattered his dreams with his bravery and military skills. Troops of the Maratha army attacked many of the Mughal territories. Though the Emperor's generals tried very hard for a long time, they couldn't win the Maratha fort of Ramsej near Nashik. Thus, Sambhaji Maharaj's valor brought Aurangzeb to his knees. Once he removed his turban in frustration and threw it on the floor. He made a vow that until he had vanquished Sambhaji, he would not wear his turban. Sambhaji Maharaj had rendered Aurangzeb helpless to this extent. So, like how Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj had become a headache for Aurangzeb, the same way, even fiercer than Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj was the rage which was caused by Sambhaji Maharaj for Aurangzeb. So, Aurangzeb at that time wanted to occupy Kabul, the regions from Kabul to Kanyakumari, so and create a grand unified Mughal empire, very big Mughal empire he wanted to create. But his dream was to destroy the Maratha state completely using his financial and military prowess, whatever strength he had, and but this dream of capturing regions from Kabul to Kanyakumari was shattered. Yes, it was totally destroyed by Sambhaji Maharaj, and at the same time the Mughal Maratha troops did attack the Mughal territories. So this one of the because of these activities of Sambhaji Maharaj, Aurangzeb what as at his wits end. Okay, so the valor of Sambhaji Maharaj brought Aurangzeb to his knees. He was very frustrated, and in that anger also he threw his turban on the floor and made a vow. He promised himself, Aurangzeb promised himself, that until and unless he destroys Sambhaji Maharaj, he does not vanquish Sambhaji Maharaj, he would not wear his turban. Okay, and because so that was the extent as to which Aurangzeb was rendered helpless by Sambhaji Maharaj. Okay, so some it is even said that more than Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj had brought a lot of trouble to Aurangzeb. Yes, let's see what happens next. Campaign against the Siddhi. We all have learnt about the Siddhi of Janjira, how he used to harass the people of the Maratha territory, used to raid, burn, and loot the Maratha territory and commit atrocities. Atrocities means lot of harassment, lot of cruelties was being done by him. So the Sabasad has described him as a rat in the house. Sambhaji Maharaj started a campaign against him in 1682. His army laid a siege to Siddhi's Dandarajpuri fort and battered the fort of Janjira with the artillery. But at the same time, the Mughal army invaded Swaraj. Sambhaji Maharaj had to abandon the Janjira campaign and turn back. So even against Siddhi of Janjira, Sambhaji Maharaj had gone on a campaign. Yes, whereby the fort of Dandarajpuri was battered with a lot of artillery. It was attacked, but at the same time, see, these same, the Mughal, the Siddhi of Janjira and the Portuguese were on the same side. So at the same time, when Sambhaji Maharaj had attacked Siddhi of Janjira, the Mughal army invaded Swaraj. So Sambhaji Maharaj, to save Swaraj, had to abandon the campaign against Siddhi and get back to Swaraj for the safety and to save for the security of Swaraj. And the Sabasad is also a Bakhar, which we already is a chronicle, whereby it's a historical document which illustrates or which gives the example of Siddhi of Janjira as a rat in the house. Like how a rat in the house causes a lot of destruction, causes a lot of chaos. The same way, Siddhi of Janjira caused a lot of chaos in the Maratha territory. Campaign against the Portuguese. We all know that the Portuguese had joined hands with the emperor against Sambhaji Maharaj. So Sambhaji Maharaj decided to teach the lesson to the Portuguese as well. So he attacked the Ravdanda fort of the Portuguese in 1683 CE. To counter this, the Portuguese laid a siege to the Fonda fort of the Marathas on the Goa border. The Maratha broke through the siege and attacked Goa. In this battle, Yasaji Kankar showed great valor. The Portuguese governor got wounded and retreated. Sambhaji Maharaj followed him. The Portuguese were in deep trouble. At this time, Sambhaji Maharaj got the news that the Mughals had attacked South Konkan. So, therefore, he had to abandon the winning campaign of Goa and return to fight with the Mughals. So, this happened twice, once with the Siddhi of Janjira and the second time with the Portuguese. So, since the Portuguese had joined hands with the Mughal Emperor, Sambhaji Maharaj decided to teach them a lesson, and for that, he attacked the Ravdanda fort of the Portuguese. Now, to retaliate this attack on Ravdanda fort, what did the Portuguese do? They laid a siege to the Fonda fort of the Marathas on the Goa border. But the Marathas broke the siege and they entered Goa and attacked the fort. So, in this battle against the Portuguese, Yasaji Kang showed great valor, great courage. Yes, and in this attack, also the Portuguese governor got wounded and they retreated. Okay, so Sambhaji Maharaj also followed him. Now, that time, the Portuguese were in deep trouble. But unfortunately, Sambhaji Maharaj got the news that the Mughals had attacked South Konkan, and for saving South Konkan, Sambhaji Maharaj, so to save the South Konkan, Sambhaji Maharaj had to abandon this winning campaign against the Portuguese and go and fight with the Mughals in the South Konkan. So just like how he had to abandon the siege, the campaign against Siddhi, same way Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj had to abandon the winning campaign against the Portuguese in Goa and return to fight the Mughals to save Swaraj. Okay, let's see what's next. The end of Adil Shahi and Kuthupshai. We all know when we learnt about the Bahmani kingdom and the Vijayanagar kingdom, we all knew that when the Bahmani kingdom disintegrated, it was divided into five small powers. So two of these powers were the Adil Shah and the Qutub Shah. So Aurangzeb did not succeed in his campaign against the Marathas. Therefore, he suspended that campaign because we already know that how Sambhaji Maharaj had become a big headache for Aurangzeb, and he would not allow Aurangzeb to succeed in any of his campaign. So, since Aurangzeb was not winning against the Marathas, he turned his attention towards the kingdom of Adil Shah and Qutub Shah and conquered them. So, when he conquered them, the wealth and army of both the kingdoms were now acquired by the Mughals, and it made Aurangzeb more even stronger. Already, he had his own army, he had his own wealth, but in addition to that, he got the army, the wealth of both the Adil Shahi as well as the Qutub Shahi. Okay, so that made him more stronger. So after that, he concentrated all his might, all his attention on defeating the Marathas. So with the getting empowered with the Adil Shah and Qutub Shahi army as well, so he attacked the territories of the Marathas from all sides. So the Maratha army general Hambirrao Mohite got killed during an encounter with the Mughal army. Due to this blow, the military strength of Sambhaji Maharaj was weakened. Yes, so with the end of Adil Shah, so Adil Shah and Kuthupshai kingdoms were ended by Aurangzeb. But after that, the Mughals became more powerful, became more stronger. Yes, they became stronger compared to what they were after gaining the wealth and the army of both these kingdoms. And then he attacked Aurangzeb attacked Marathas from all the sides. And in one of this attack, one of the encounter of the Marathas and the Mughals, the army general, the Maratha army general Hambirao Mohite got killed. So this death of Ambirao Mohite was a great blow, was a great shock to the Maratha Empire, and it weakened the strength of Sambhaji Maharaj. The military strength of Sambhaji Maharaj was weakened because of the death of Hambirao Mohite. So Hambirao Mohite was one of the great generals of the Maratha Empire. Campaign against the Portuguese, we already learned this. Okay. Then we have administration of Sambhaji Maharaj. Now we learnt about how the administration of Swaraj was. We learnt about the Ashtapradhan Mandal, which was established by Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. So after the death of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, how did Sambhaji Maharaj administer the Swaraj? Even though Sambhaji Maharaj was busy fighting on various battle fronts, he did not ignore his administrative responsibilities. He was very good at his military tactics, but he did not, leave away or ignore his responsibilities as a king, administrative responsibility. He continued the prompt justice and revenue system, which was the characteristics of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj's era. He severely punished the landlords who harassed common people and who rebelled against the Swaraj. So just like how his father, Sambhaji Maharaj's father, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, had a prompt justice and revenue system that was continued by Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj as well. So even Sambhaji Maharaj punished the landlord who harassed, who troubled the common people, and those who rebelled against Swaraj, those who went against Swaraj. He gave administrative powers of to Maharani Yasubai, his wife. Okay, his wife, Sambhaji Maharaj's wife, Maharani Yasubai, was given administrative powers, and he also gave her own stamp. He continued the legacy of Shivaji Maharaj's welfare policies. So, whatever welfare policies, just ran justice, giving proper justice, uh, having a good revenue system, the characteristics of Shivaji Maharaj rule. So that was continued by Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj, and along with him to help him was his own wife, Maharani Yasubai. So he also gave her a lot of authorities, lot of responsibilities were shouldered even by Maharani Yasubai. Sambhaji Maharaj knew Sanskrit and many other languages well. He studied many ancient books on polity and wrote their gist in a book called Budh Bhushan. Okay, so Sambhaji Maharaj was very well versed in Sanskrit as well as other languages, and he had learnt many, he had knowledge about polity, how to govern a state. Okay, so the ancient books on how to govern a state, and he wrote down all the summary of all these books in a book called Budbhushan. So Budbhushanam was a book which on polity written by Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj. Yes. So this is how even Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj was as good as his own father in the administration of Swaraj as well. So just like father, even the son was as good in the administration purpose. Okay. Then what we have next is about the death of Sambhaji Maharaj. Aurangzeb was trying very hard to defeat Sambhaji Maharaj. He had placed Mukarrab Khan in charge of Kolhapur province. Mukarrab Khan learned that Sambhaji Maharaj was at Sangameshwar in Konkan. He raided the place and captured Sambhaji Maharaj. When Sambhaji Maharaj was taken to the emperor, he faced him fearlessly. By the emperor's orders, he was brutally put to death on 11th March 1689. This Maratha Chhatrapati did not compromise his self respect and faced his death nobly and bravely. The Marathas took inspiration from this his sacrifice and intensified their fight against the Mughals. Okay, so we all know that how Shivaji Maharaj died. He died due to an illness, but on the contrary, Sambhaji Maharaj was brutally killed by Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb gave orders to kill him brutally, and he died on 11th March 1689. Now, how did they capture? Sambhaji Maharaj was captured by the Mughals. Sambhaji captured Mukarrab Khan, who was in charge of the Kobaldapur province. He got the news that Sambhaji Maharaj was at Sangmeshwar in Konkan. So he raided the place where Sambhaji Maharaj was then captured Sambhaji Maharaj, and Sambhaji Maharaj was imprisoned. Sambhaji Maharaj was given, lot of cruelties were done to him, and ultimately he did not compromise his self-respect and self-respect to the Mughals, and he faced his death nobly. He did not compromise to whatever the Mughals wanted to do to him. He faced his death bravely, and ultimately he died on 11th March 1689. So this death of Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj intensified the fight against the Mughals. The Marathas took inspiration that their own ruler, that their own leader had sacrificed his life for the Maratha Empire, and they should need to take an inspiration and influence from that and fight against the Mughals for the safety and security of Swaraj. Fine. So this is about the death of Sambhaji Maharaj. So in today's session, we learnt about how what was the Maratha War of Independence. We learnt about Sambhaji Maharaj, the siege of the campaign against the Siddhi campaign against the Portuguese, the end of Adil Shah and Kuthupshai kingdom, the administration of Sambhaji Maharaj, and the death of Sambhaji Maharaj. The remaining part of this lesson, we will do it in the second part, of which you will get it very soon. So go through this. You have any doubt, can have we can get to know it in our live sessions. Until then, children, go through the lesson, read the lesson very well, and we will meet again very soon. Till then, take care. Have a good day, children. Sai Ram.